My name is Sam Camp, and I'm a writer on Wattpad.
Hi, I'm Rodney V. Smith, Wattpad author and star, and the author of How Not to Vampire. I am with Sam Camp today. He's also a Wattpad author and star, and let me see, Sam. Right now, you have your new series coming out, "Kiss to Build a Dream On," but you're well known for the for running with scissors, playing with matches. You have a whole theme going on here, and the Bad Boys, Soft Boys, Lonely Hearts Club.
Yeah, I love that. That whole thing.
Okay,
Yeah.
apart from your propensity for really long titles, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay. What can I say? I always like to say that I'm a jack of all trades, but a master of none. I've been very blessed to be able to do a lot of things in my short time here in life. I had a diplomatic life here in Venezuela, uh, being a delegate to go and negotiate things for Venezuela in other countries when you could do that. But aside from that, I've been a high school teacher teaching English, which is something that helped me a lot in writing because my writing in English was awful and it's still a bit bad sometimes. Uh, I also been a salesman for uh, for construction companies because there are a lot of international construction companies here that mostly get their prime stuff. But I think that my main job it is to be a chef. I am a gastronomer by profession, and I really like to cook, and I think that that's my dream job to be able to express myself through a medium, be it writing or this time cooking. So yeah, I'm a little bit of everything, and I am also a lawyer, but I don't like being a lawyer.
So your true love is in the creation of things.
Exactly, I like to create and to express myself. I feel like myself when I express myself.
How long have you been writing?
I've been writing since well, actually, my first attempt at writing was on 2012 when I first entered university. I got a flash of inspiration for a story that, in hindsight, has all the cliche tropes like the guy waking up and going to a mysterious island and it's all GA and stuff. And it's like, oh, that was a bad story. But like writing per se, it was on 2017 when I entered the site.
Okay. Usually we get like I'll always hear people talking about how they were writing from the time that they could hold a pencil, for instance. That's like my own story, but it's interesting that you started later on. What were you doing any writing before, or was just that just you just woke up one day and said, I'm gonna start writing?
Yeah, basically, I woke up one day and I said, you know what? I was going through a rough time in life, and a friend told me, "Hey, why don't you start trying to write it out, something like a therapy?" And I said, "Okay, I can do that." And I began to write like small poems on my cell phone, and I send them to her. I say, "Hey, look at this one or look at that one," and I started to feel better. I find out that whenever I'm feeling sad or feeling depressed or feeling anxious, I like to express myself or to create something, and that is like channeling that energy. And so when I discovered the site, when everyone can read whatever you write and you can share that with the world, I say, okay, let's try to teach myself how to write by doing this.
Okay, you're a pretty funny guy. I mean, like most of your stories, they're very humorous. There's a
Yeah.
dark undertone to some of them, but you would mainly say you are a humor writer.
Well, I'm being known for to being a humor writer, so yeah, I say that. Uh, I think that we are living right now in a postmodern humor renaissance of sort. Uh, the postmodern humor is more like, oh, life sucks, everything sucks, and That's okay. That's funny to suck. But I think that the postmodern era that we're living in is saying, "Hey, life sucks. We can do anything we want because it won't matter. We are all going to die at some point." And I think that tragedy and comedy are basically the same, but applied to time. Tragedy in the long run, in 100 years, in 200 years, in 300 years, is going to be used just for some sort of comedy. So why not get in the background now and actually put a humor spin on dark things? For example, death. For example, life. For example, how to live, or philosophy. So that's my motto with comedy.
Okay, so what about other genres? Do you ever write other genres, or is it mainly just humor and well, okay, I don't even know what to call a sound maker, because it's got the humor, some humorous elements, but that's more like of a drama.
Yeah, I actually began to write mystery stories. That was my first ever mystery story, which eventually became A Risk to A Case to Build a Dream. Was this behemoth of 1,055 words, thousand words, and it was huge, and it was just this interconnected web of things and schemes and stuff that didn't have any humor to it, and I really like that, uh, building things on top of things and making a unraveled mystery. And after that, I turned to making the sound maker. But there's an interesting shift there because way back then I had a laptop. I don't have a laptop at this moment. This is a borrowed laptop, and I had the entire thing of the sound maker plotted on my laptop, but that got stolen,
Ah,
and that got me super depressed. It was in early 2018, and I was so sad and I was so heartbroken that I said, you know what? I'm not gonna write this. Let's write whatever stupid thing I had in my mind, and whatever stupid thing I had in my mind was Running with Scissors. And when that took off, it's like, oh, people like comedy. From
so
then on out,
it took you having your laptop stolen for you to
yeah,
make the shift over to okay,
exactly.
that's
It's like, you know what? I don't want to plan anything. I'm going to just write, and whatever comes out of my mind, that's going to be in the thing,
do
and
you
my everything shifts.
do you find it more enjoyable to write comedy? I mean, I know it's a tough thing, especially trying to find the humor in situations, but it's got to be different than writing just straight fiction.
Oh, of course. I think that comedy doesn't have many rules in regards of a universe, and for a pantser, I think it's more fun to just let out and do something crazy and something unexpected, because even you can even make fun of plot holes or something like, hey, this is a plot hole. Don't worry about it. Just move on or something. You can be silly. You can be entertained by humor stories, and I think I like to entertain more than to enwrap in a mystery. But I also like mystery, so whatever. What do I know?
Well, that leads me to my next question. I was going to ask the whole plotter or pantser or plantser, but you said that you are a pantser. You just did NaNoWriMo, the
Yeah,
National November. Sorry, hold on. Which was it called again? National Novel
National
Writing
Novel
Month.
Writing Romance. Yeah, whatever. That.
Yeah, I actually got back into writing narrative through NaNoWriMo. This is way back in 2009. I was writing screenplays for a while, so I know the value of NaNoWriMo, that it takes you and it focuses you for a whole month just to get those words out and just write as much as you can in the time that you have. You just participated. Is this your first NaNoWriMo or your second one?
No, this is my first NaNoWriMo.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Officially my first NaNoWriMo.
Did you win?
Yeah, I won, of course.
Okay, so
Uh,
50,000 words.
yeah.
Tell us about the novel you wrote.
The Nola Road is a kiss to build a dreamer. It's basically back when I had my diplomatic background. I used to go a lot to the United States for diplomatic stuff, and I had a particular soft spot for the city of Boston. my city right now, the one I live in, is the only planned city in Venezuela, and it was planned uh, by Harvard, MIT professionals, and they copied Boston that, to make my city, that is Puerto Ordaz. So I go to Boston and I feel at home because it feels like Puerto Ordaz because it was made in base of Boston. And I really love the people there. I love the history with the criminal history of Boston. But I also got very attached or very inspired by the opioid crisis right now, especially in Boston, that it was very huge, uh, where Purdue Pharma and Oxycontin, it hit Boston pretty good, pretty hard. And I was like, okay, how can I put my love for Boston in this story while also acknowledging the history? And that became what it is. The story. It's basically a story of a big pharmaceutical, like a John Goodman type of character, mafioso, but a corporate big big wig that is basically peddling this drug. He says that it's a drug that is going to make you dream awake, that is going to take away your anxiety, but people are abusing it. And when people start abusing it, bad things start to happen. There comes criminal enterprises trying to take the drug. He himself, Henry White, that is the main protagonist, is having an issue because his wife died. So he's trying to take the drug in order uh, to overcome that sadness he has. But in doing so, is seeing how bad that drug can be and how damaged that drug can be to a person that is grieving or a person that has anxiety. So it is a lot of moving parts, and that's going back to my roots of writing, that I like to build things over things over things over things over things to make a world that is lived in, basically. A note to the city of Boston, to the high parts, to the low parts, to the everything, basically.
Wow, well, that's quite an achievement, especially for your very first NaNoWriMo.
Yeah.
But you got all the way through, you finished it, and I believe there was a Wattpad competition going on. So good luck to you with that.
Thank you.
All right. What is next for you? I mean, like you're in the Wattpad Page Stories program. You have which book do you have in there? Is it Running with Scissors?
Yeah, Running with Scissors is the only one that I have in the program right now. They are assessing the sequel. The sequel. I don't know what's happening. The sequel, to see if it can go also in the paid program, but it's a very different sequel. Whereas the first one, the Running with Scissors, is a story about life, about someone dying and trying to find their space in the world. That is something very relatable. The sequel, quote unquote, goes all the way to a paranormal thing when a ghost sees his body and his body is a zombie. So he's trying to work with a zombie in order to be together again. But also the guy is super cowardly and sees all these people and this paranormal world that is also not as much about life, but about death and how to accept death. So there are two different things that are colliding there, basically.
Okay.
So
Well, it seems like you go quite a few places in your entire writing journey.
yeah.
What's the like one of the best things for you about writing? What's the thing that you really enjoy? Just sitting down and creating something new.
I think that the best thing I enjoy is watching my plants crumble to the ground. Basically, whenever I think like, okay, I have control of this, and I'm going to write this, and this is going to happen, and the characters say, nope, this is not going to happen. Let's go take this elsewhere. And I'm like, okay, I'm going along with the journey with the people inside my head. Basically, they dictate where I go. I try to rein them in to see what's going to happen, but they're going to say, nope, this is not going to happen. You think that you're gonna take this one scene? No, 5 chapters in this one scene because that's gonna happen.
It's the life of the pantser.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Well, there are a lot of new writers up on Wattpad, and they're always trying to build an audience and get their work out more and everything. Is there any like advice you can really give to them? I know like just coming to Wattpad for the very first time, it can be very what's the word I'm looking for here? It's overwhelming because you don't really know how to get out there, and people can put out a book and not get reads for 3 months, and then all of a sudden people start to see it. But any words of advice you can give to new writers?
I think that depends on where you're standing when you're writing. When I started writing, I had a prejudice against myself because I didn't know exactly where to go, and I saw all these stars before there were stars, and those huge books getting thousands and millions of reads, and I say to myself, "Hey, I'm just some Venezuelan guy in Venezuela. I am not an American writing. I'm not a Canadian writing. I am not going to make it on the side because uh, I'm just a Latino person." I think that is weird to think about, and that's like a self prejudice that I say. I was like being racist to myself. I don't know if that's something. I didn't have many Latino stars or Latino personalities in Wattpad that I saw,
Yep.
and so that told myself. I told myself like, okay, I cannot be like them because I am not like them, and I neglected basically trying to get reads. And like, okay, I'm gonna write to myself, and that is the reads will come unless you they will come because they will come, and that's not something on the side. That is not something you can do. You cannot just be passive and wait for reads to come because it's not going to come. If you are a writer starting, the best thing you can do is look for other writers. Look for other writers like yourself, people that are starting the journey. Join book clubs. Book clubs are an excellent way to not only get reads but also get critiques for your work. Because on the whole, this is what Wattpad is about. It's about people reading, about people enjoying, but also critiquing, also saying what works, what doesn't work. So my advice to you is find other readers, find other writers, take their advice into consideration, and build with them. Nobody in this side is going to build themselves from nothing just by waiting. You have to be proactive. You have to read, you have to write, and you have to engage.
Read, write, and engage.
Yeah.
Good words. Okay, so what's next for you? What's your big project? Actually, you know what? I'm gonna take you back a little bit here. There's the question I had to ask you from the very beginning: is do you write in English or do you write in Spanish?
Well, I write completely in English, even though I'm not an English native. I'm a Spanish native, and I actually just published a Spanish draft in a secret account. So for some people, just to see if I could write in Spanish, and I don't really like writing in Spanish because the rules are completely different.
Yep.
But I write mailing in English. It's easier for me to express in English because literally every media I consume is in English. Every video I read is in English. All my phone is in English. Everything is in English. So it's easy for me to, do it in English.
Is it different to think in English? Because I actually worked for a year with a translator. He was Italian, and it was just this little side project that we did where we decided to take my first novel, So I Might Be a Vampire, and turn it into Italian. And he's native Italian, but he speaks like perfect English. And he always said that for him, thinking in English was a different process than thinking in Italian. So because it does offer a little bit more freedom and of expression, and especially the swearing. So what was your
Yeah.
experience with that?
Uh, there is something weird that let's preface with this. Did you know that some people have certain speech impediments with certain languages?
No.
Like, for example, you can be dyslexic in English, but you're not dyslexic in another language, in Spanish. Or you can have issues with one language and not with another. And that's something that happens to me. In Spanish, I think way too fast and I trip with my words. And due to an incident that I'm not going to delve too much on that incident, I have a little bit speech impediment in Spanish when I get stuck mentally and I lose the words. So in this case, I think Spanish for me is way harder to process things than in English. Not only because English is easier for me, but because that thing that I have with my mind. Basically, if I start to speak Spanish, I trip with my own tongue, and I trip mentally that I get in a wall that I get stuck because I can't find the damn word I want to use. So
I,
it's
I,
a little bit weird.
I guess you're just using different speech centers, really,
Yeah.
just to even think of the words.
I want to give a shout out to my community of Latin American stars. They are always there. We are a small few, but we are powerful in the platform. And besides that, I want to give a shout out to all the ambassadors that sometimes we don't get we don't get thanks, but we are there like gnomes working on the shoes at night when nobody's seeing.
Okay. Well, I take it you've is things have shifted on Wattpad a little bit, but you have built those small communities. Are you finding it useful as an author to actually have that kind of contact with the other authors?
Of course, as I said before, if you don't have the insight of other authors, how can you make your own story good? Because of course, we all as authors we want readers that say, "Oh, I love this," and they comment things. But we also want the feedback with other authors because sometimes those authors have been writing longer than you or have different experiences than you. So if you, as an author, want to get something out or to need help, you're not going to be able to get a better help than from another author that has been there or is going through the same thing. So basically, yes, authors support authors.
Okay. My best question here is, what are you reading now?
What am I reading now?
Yeah.
There is a very good story by Graham Bauer that is called The Beta Rising, that is smashing everything that you know about werewolves and about alphas and stuff. It's about a beta that says, you know what, betas are cool. I'm going to be a beta, and I'm going to be the best beta there is ever been.
Oh yeah,
It's
I saw
actually,
Graham. I saw Graham share his cover, and it actually looked pretty cool.
yeah, I love that cover. Actually, those types of colors are pretty good. Let's see what else I'm
Well,
reading.
your covers are quite different than what you see in Wattpad.
Yes, actually, I have everything entirely to thanks to Holly at Asanthiel on Wattpad. She's a very talented young lady that makes all my covers, except the ones who sucks. That's mine. But she actually is love.
Yeah, she's kind of
And
built like a whole Sam Camp brand.
yeah, basically, she's the mastermind behind everything I use. Basically, another shout out that I want to give, what I'm reading right now, is a story that's called Bukowski's Broken Family Band by A.W. Glenn. It is this something entirely out of the left field about a band, but that is based on the writings and the story of Bukowski, and it's something super weird and super snappy and super fresh that as the moment I read it, I say like, this is going places.
Okay.
I actually have. If you go to my profile to Sam LeFou, there is. I have a lot of reading lists that are themed. For example, I have a nano stories that I like, 12 days of Wattpad that I like, and there is a list that says what I'm reading right now. So that from all the stories I don't know if you see.
Are we going to be seeing any of your books in print anytime soon?
Hopefully, yes. I'm not going to say anything right now because there's nothing, set in stone. But at least I'm hoping you can see one of my stories in another medium sometime soonish.
All right.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers
That's all.
crossed.
Fingers crossed.
All right, cool. Okay, so tell us about your social media. Where can we find you on social media? Are you on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook?
Yes, I am on Twitter with the same handle at Sam_le_fu or Sam LeFou. And in Instagram I'm as creepy Uncle Sam, creepy underscore Uncle_Sam. So basically the same as Wattpad, except on Instagram.
All right. Well, excellent. Well, thank you so much for joining me here today.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So, Merry Christmas to you. Feliz Navidad.
Feliz Navidad.
Well, I have to use my little bit of Spanish. I don't get to use it very too often, so I'm very, very bad at this point.
You gotta flex the Spanish muscle.
Well, I will just do that just so that I don't embarrass myself too much.
Yeah.
Okay, Sam, I'm gonna let you go back to your day and get back to mine, and I will see you on the Discord.